Hi everyone, I hope I'm perfectly audible, visible. Hi everyone, I hope I'm perfectly audible and visible. Yes, so hi everyone. Hi everyone, good evening. I hope you all are doing good. I hope you all are studying properly and sincerely. So, in today's session, we are going to revise the reproductive health, and you know that your biology classes are going on continuously. We have finished the major chapters: human reproduction, principles of inheritance, molecular basis of inheritance, and today, because it is Sunday and I don't want to take your much time, so that's why I decided to finish this reproductive health. And as per your request, yes people, as per your request, I have just checked the comments and students were like, go for the biotech next. So let's go for the biotech next, and after that let's go for the evolution. So we are going to finish these major chapter here in the month of December only, right guys? And I know human health and disease is a major concern, so I'll take that session live again. Is that good? Cool? Yeah? So let's start the session, and before that, let me tell you, 10th of December is going to be something. 10th of December is actually amazing. So here you guys can see. Just check out this video, okay? Just check out this video. You'll get to know so many things. And what do you have to do? You just have to allow me a minute. Yeah, so just go to this link. You'll get to know the details. Okay, so there is going to be a very amazing surprise for all of you. So just stay tuned to our channel. You'll get the update about that, okay? So, and trust me, it is going to be really amazing, and it is really going to boost your NEET as well as JEE preparation, okay? So let's get started. So what are we going to discuss today? Today the chapter is reproductive health, not so lengthy, right? It's a very short chapter, and I assume I just don't assume in less than 3 hours we'll finish it. So today there is no break, nothing at all. So we'll start it and then we'll finish it in one go. And then you enjoy your Sunday, I'll enjoy my Sunday, and tomorrow we will meet for our classes. Okay, so let's start. And I don't know what happened to the screen all of a sudden. Just allow me some time. Okay, something happened to the screen as well. I don't know. So let's see. So it will start. So reproductive health. In the reproductive health, definitely we are going to talk about the reproductive system. Okay. And when we talk about the reproductive system, what we have to consider, of course, the complete well-being or the functioning of the reproductive organs. That is what we have to talk about, isn't it? Right. The complete well-being and functioning of the reproductive system. That's what we have to discuss, right, students? Right. And other than that, right, what else do we have to consider here? See, as per WHO, right, that is World Health Organization, you are not just talking about the well-being of reproductive organs. We have to consider all the aspects of reproduction, right? And when it comes to all the aspect, physical, social, emotional well-being, everything needs to be considered. Okay. Okay, so this is about the reproductive health, and as per WHO, this is what the meaning or the significance of reproductive health is. So this is what we have to discuss today. So in today's class, we are going to talk about the problems related to, unawareness of this reproductive health. Then we will also talk about the different diseases that affect our reproductive system. We will talk about the infertility and the issue and the things that can resolve that. That is, we will talk about assisted reproductive technologies. We'll talk about the MTPs. So for this particular chapter, NCERT is more than sufficient for all of you, right? So we'll stick to the NCERT for this chapter, and then the PYQ practice, that will be sufficient for you, okay? That's going to be sufficient for you. So let's get started. So the chapter name, as I said, is what? It is the reproductive health. Okay, what's the chapter name that we have? The chapter name is reproductive health. So let's go, guys. There is some issue. Just 1 minute. Okay. So I believe it's done. It's sorted. Okay, it's done. It's sorted. So let's get started. Okay. So I have already shared the notes of MBOI as well in your group, in your Telegram, in our official Telegram group, that is Unacademy NEET English. Okay. That is Unacademy NEET English. So now it's working fine. This is what I can see. Chale, so let's go. Okay, so the chapter name is Reproductive Health. So as I said, right, as I said that according to what? According to WHO. So here, as I said, we'll finish it in less than 3 hours. So according to WHO, that is World Health Organization, when it comes to the reproductive health, it will include everything. It will include the total well-being, right? It will include total well-being in all the aspects of reproduction. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? That it is going to include what? The total well-being in all the aspects of reproduction. That is the physical, emotional, behavioral, and the social aspects. So everything will be considered here, number one. Okay, so there is a society. So therefore, a society with people which are, physically fit, the reproductive organs are working fine, then obviously, right, even the emotionally also they are fine, so obviously they will give birth to the healthy population as well. Healthy population, obviously the efficiency will be better. So that is how everything is interrelated. Are you getting my point? So as per WHO, what is the meaning of reproductive health? Everybody just pay attention. Total well-being in all the aspects of reproduction. What's that? It is the total well-being in all the aspects of reproduction, be it the physical aspect, emotional aspect, behavioral, and social. So society with people having physical and functionally normal reproductive organs, right? They have normal behavioral interactions, right? So that society will also be reproductively healthy. Is that clear? Is that clear, everybody? Sure? Done? So when it comes to this reproductive health, so if I talk about the problems and the strategies here, right? See, in general, like this chapter is not just important for NEET, it is in general important. And I believe that students of class 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, they should have the guidance regarding that. Like sex education, you know that they should be implemented in schools, and there are some schools where they talk about it. Why is it so? Because when girls or boys, or when they attain the age of puberty, the hormonal secretion induces. We know it very well. We know that gonadotropins release, right? What are gonadotropins? The hormones that are going to act on our sex organs, right? In the male as well as in the female. So in the case of females, ovaries are there. In the case of males, testes are there. So reproductive organs will start acting, these hormones will start, these gonadotropin releasing hormones will start acting on that, basically the gonads, and gonads will start their functioning. So the gamete formation, it starts, plus the hormone secretion is also there. And that hormones, the primary sex hormones, in the case of females, we talk about the estrogen and progesterone. In the case of males, we talk about the testosterone. After the secretion of that hormones, there are the changes that we experience in our body. We all are well aware of it, isn't it? Like if I talk about the boys, in their case, if I talk about, the secondary sex characters, right? All that mustache, beard that will grow, this Adam apple thing, it will be there. The deepening of voice is there. These are the things. But internally also, because changes are there, reproductive organs are functioning, even testosterone is there. And you know that testosterone also induces aggression, isn't it? In the case of females, the breast development starts, right? The pubic hair growth is there. So at that time, the guidance is very important. At that time, they should know how to deal with such changes. At that time, they need a proper direction, right? They need a proper guidance and a direction where somebody can guide them, because obviously the curiosity is there, right? There is a curiosity. In that age, there is a curiosity, right? And curiosity regarding our sexuality, curiosity regarding this thing, we want to know more about ourselves. So if at that time, if the guidance is not proper, if you get the information from not so authentic source, and you just go for the Google or something, then obviously there are high chances that you'll be misguided, isn't it? Isn't it? Yes or no? Yes or no? It happens. It happens, right? You all are in this age, and you know, sometimes we are not able to deal, or sometimes we are not able to deal with our emotions, and sometimes we are not able to express it. So at that time, if there is a proper guidance, if there is a authentic source, right, which is guiding you, it can be your teacher, your mentors, your family, your any elder person, right, then obviously the life or the dealing with such things will be easy for you. So that's why it's a age where, you know, the girls or the boys, basically they are quite vulnerable. Okay, so that's why if in this particular age you guys will get the guidance, obviously you'll deal with the things in a better way. I'm not saying that you are still not going to make the mistakes. You will definitely make the mistakes, only then you will learn. But ultimately what's going to happen, you people will learn how to deal, how to tackle with these hormonal changes, with your emotions as well. So this chapter is very important, right? So that is why guidance here is very important. Okay, so if I talk about the reproductive health, the problems and the strategies, so if we are not aware of all that things, the overpopulation is the well-known example, because there are no, initially when population was growing, I'll give you the example. After independence, right, if I talk about our country, after independence, what happened? Obviously every country try to give better, you know, facilities or the opportunity to the population of that country. So after independence in India, like health facilities, they were better, right? The free health facilities were provided to the pregnant ladies in the hospitals, they were guided and all of that. Because of that, what happened? So before that, right, during childbirth, many females used to die. Even that newborn baby, the infant, the neonate, they also used to die. But because of better health facilities, right, the survival chances were more, the survival was more, and with the time, what happened? The population was more. So initially checks were not there. So checks were not there. So you know that now we are the top one having the highest population, right? So it is not always like that. Basically in 1951, India was the first country, right? This is something that you really need to know. So in 1951, indeed, India was the first country. India was actually the first country who started the family planning program, right? They initiated it, but obviously till today we are not able to achieve it. That's why we are having the highest population, right? Right, so that's why when it comes to the reproductive health, it is not just the functioning, the better functioning of the reproductive organs. It will consider all the aspects related to the reproduction, right? It will why do we emphasize the emotional aspects also, right? Like here we cannot leave even a single domain, right? The emotional intimacy, everything has to be considered in this particular part when we study this. Okay, so here you can see that India was amongst the first countries in the world that initiated the action plans and the programs at the national level. Why? To attain the total reproductive health as a social goal, right? So India was the first country. Do we need to remember? Yes. What's the name of the year? So these programs called family planning, they were initiated in 1951. Do not confuse it with 1971. It's 1951, and were periodically, their assessments were done over the past decades. Okay, so improved programs covering wider reproduction related areas are currently in operation. Again, I'm repeating this point, that improved programs which cover, you know, all the reproduction related aspects are currently in operation under the popular name. This is what you have to remember for the exam: Reproductive and Child Health Care Program, that is RCH. So this is another important question from this part, right? So you people should know the definition of, the full form of rather, RCH. Is that clear? Is that clear, everybody? Sure? Is that clear? So it is Reproductive and Child Health Care Program. Which program it is, everybody? Which program it is? Reproductive and Child Health Care Program. Is that clear? Is that clear? Sure, sure. So it's a comprehensive program under the Indian health system. And what's the aims of that program? So the aims of that program, right? What are the aims? What are the aims of that particular program? Obviously to improve the reproductive health of people and reduce maternal and child mortality, right? So, right, there are aims. Many aims here. So mainly the mortality rate. Mortality means the death rate should be less for the child as well as for the mother. Is that clear? Mortality rate should be less. Is that clear? So if I talk about the major, right, if I talk about the major objectives here, so obviously safe motherhood should be there. What are the major objectives? There are many, but if I talk about the major one, so the safe motherhood, right, the maternal and the infant mortality rate should be less, right, healthy pregnancy, healthy childbirth, postnatal care should be more, right, and the family planning and the reproductive awareness should be there. Because if all that things were if we target all that things, then obviously if family planning will also be emphasized, then obviously the population can still be maintained. So this is the point that we have to remember. So as I said, so what will be, yes, what we have to include there, so you can see that. So what are the main objectives? So as I said, the safe motherhood should be there, the infant mortality rate, the mother's mortality rate, it should be less, even the postnatal care should be more, the family planning and that awareness program should also be there. So if I talk about the awareness among people about the reproduction related aspects, so how can it be done? How can it be done? There are different ways. The government agencies, they are doing it, right, on the national television also we see the ads regarding that, pamphlets are there. There are centers in the villages which aware people about that. NGOs, right, non-governmental agencies, they also cooperate there. So when it comes to the awareness, so with the help of audio visuals and the print media, even with the help of audio visuals and the print media, governmental and non-governmental agencies, right, governmental and non-governmental agencies, they have taken various steps so that they can create the awareness among the people about what? About the reproduction related aspects. About what? About the reproduction related aspects. So as I said, and I talked about the importance of that as well, importance of sex education in schools. So in the schools, that young minds, that curious minds are there. So if they will get proper guidance, they will not fall for any trap, because that is a very vulnerable age. Okay, because even if I talk about the girls, they are not aware of many things, and people exploit this. So that should not happen. They should have proper guidance from the mouth of their parents, from the mouth of their mentors, so that they understand it. Okay, so introduction of sex education in schools should also be encouraged to provide the right information to the young, so as to discourage children from believing in myths as well as having misconceptions about the sex related aspects. Is that clear? Then proper information about the reproductive organs, about the adolescence. Adolescence in Hindi is Kishoravastha, right? At this time, you are not a kid, you're not even an adult, right? It is some age in between where you really need a lot of guidance. So changes which are going to take place because of the, obviously because of the hormones, right? The safe and the hygienic sexual practices, about the sexually transmitted diseases, STDs, which are now referred as STIs, sexually transmitted infections, or venereal infections, is the venereal diseases. Is that clear? That's what we call them. Then AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, right? So they would help people, especially those in the adolescent age group, to lead a reproductively healthy life. So this is about the awareness thing. So I'm covering everything from the NCERT, don't worry about that. So here you guys can see educating people, especially the fertile couples and those who are in the marriageable age. Okay, about what? About the available birth control options, about the care of the pregnant mothers, even as I said, postnatal care of the mother and child, the importance of breastfeeding, and there should be equal opportunities for the male and the female child. So this, and even reproductive RCH, reproductive child health care program, also covers all of that. Is that clear? Is that clear? So awareness of problems due to uncontrolled population growth. If the population growth will be uncontrolled, you know that overpopulation, overcrowding, already we are having unemployment, then it will increase more. The competition will be there, and when there is no job, the crime will increase, all that things, right? So this overpopulation can result in so many things, and we have seen that in our, we have seen that in our country, and it is still there, so we know about it. So sex abuse, sex related crimes, so all that, regarding all of these, the awareness should be there. Is that clear? so that all of us can take the necessary steps. Then after that, what else do we need to discuss? So successful implementation of various action plans, like strong infrastructure facilities, professional expertise, material support. So they all are essential to provide the medical assistance as well as to the care to the people, those who are in, who are facing any reproduction related problems. It can be related to pregnancy, deliveries, STDs, even the abortions, medical termination of pregnancy, contraception, menstrual problems, infertilities, etc. Is that clear? Is that clear? Now, when you read this part from the NCERT, then we talk about what? We talk about the amniocentesis. Yes or no? Yes or no? This is our main topic now. Just a minute. Is that clear? Sure, guys. So now what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about the amniocentesis. See, even in the chapter human reproduction, we talked about the extra embryonic membranes. So when we talk about that extra embryonic membranes, you remember we talked about the amnion, chorion, allantois, yolk sac, isn't it? This is what we discussed, right? So amnion, chorion, allantois, yolk sac, that is what we discussed. We know that chorion will help in the formation of the placenta, right? From the fetus side, it is the chorion that will form the placenta. And when you talk about the amnion, you know that in the uterus, right? This is the amniotic cavity, amnion, this layer, it covers that. So this is the amniotic sac where that baby is going to grow. There is the amniotic fluid as well. I hope you all are aware of this, right? Amniotic fluid is also there. What is there? Amniotic fluid is also there. Yes or no? Yes or no? So in the amniocentesis, what will be done? This amniotic fluid will be taken out, and obviously we need the experts there, right? This is an invasive procedure, so experts are going to perform that. So this technique is basically used to check if it is basically to check genetic disorder if any of the fetus, but it is not to determine the sex of the fetus. I'll repeat this again. So it is to check genetic disorder if any of the fetus, but not to determine the sex of the fetus. So this is the technique here. So what will be done here, as you guys can see here in this particular picture as well, right? You people can see it very clearly. So this is the amniotic sac having the amniotic fluid. So this amniotic fluid will be taken out. Now in this amniotic fluid, right, some cells from the fetus skin and all will be there. So when they'll be studied, right, obviously we will also get to know whether there is XX chromosome or the XY. But this technique is not for that procedure. This technique is to check the genetic disorder. Sorry, genetic disorder if any of the fetus. So here you can see, right? So there is a statutory ban. I'm not saying complete ban. There is a statutory ban on the amniocentesis for sex determination to legally check increasing manic of female feticide. So that's what we have to discuss. We will talk about this procedure now. So see this, right? This is the ultrasound probe, right? So the thin needle, with the help of that, what will be done? The amniotic fluid will be taken out. Sorry. Right, so it is obviously this amniotic fluid is having the, right? So see, because it is before birth, right? It is performed before birth. So can I not say that it is the prenatal, right? Can I not say that it is the prenatal, right? Before birth diagnostic, yes or no? Before birth diagnostic technique, yes or no? Yes or no? Right, before birth prenatal diagnostic technique, yes or no? And what has to be done here? The chromosomal abnormalities can be checked. Chromosomal abnormalities, right? If there is any metabolic disorder, not just the chromosomal abnormalities, if there is any, right? If there is any metabolic abnormality, right? Metabolic abnormality, genetic abnormality, chromosomal abnormality, metabolic abnormality, all of that will be checked, right? Yes or no? All of that will be checked. Is that clear? Is that clear? So usually it is done in between, somewhere in between. There's a 12 to 8 weeks of the gestation. In some literatures, 14 to 16 weeks is also given, right? In that time period, you know that our gestation period is for, right, for 9 months. So basically, right, 0 to 12 weeks or 0 to, I would say, 3 months. This is the first trimester. So it is performed somewhere around 12 to 18 weeks, or as per some literature, 14 to 16 weeks. Within this time period, it is performed. Okay, this test is performed in that time period. So what will be done? As you know, amniotic fluid from the developing fetus, from the mother's uterus, will be taken out, which is having some fetal cells, and which is also having some dissolved substances, students. So this procedure is used for the presence of, for checking the presence of certain genetic disorders, like if there is Down syndrome, which is also referred to as trisomy 21, right? How can this be done? When we'll study that cell karyotype, right, we'll get the karyotype, so we can see if there is any extra chromosome, any deleted chromosome. So of course at that time we will also get to know about the XX and XY status, but this technique is not for this purpose, right? We can check the genetic disorders, but not this, right? It is illegal, and that's why there is a statutory ban on that, to decrease the female's feticide. Is that clear? So Down syndrome, hemophilia, you know that it is a Mendelian disorder. So sickle cell anemia is also there, so to determine the survivability of the fetus. So this time clear? This point is clear. Thank you so much, Vasant beta. Thank you. Right? Okay. So ultrasound is used to locate the fetus as well as the placenta. That's why there is the ultrasound probe as well. Just a minute. Okay, done. One second, student. Okay, is that clear? So what can we check from this disorder, right? What can we check, sorry, from this technique? Yes, please, right? What can we check from this particular technique? We can easily check the metabolic disorders, the the chromosomal disorders and the genetic disorders. So when it comes to the chromosomal disorders, just we can check the Down syndrome. So Down syndrome is what? It is the trisomy 21. So other than that, others are also there. Just we have Edwards syndrome also, right? That is also due to the trisomy 18, and there is Patau syndrome as well, right? That is what? That is actually the trisomy, means one extra copy. What exactly is the trisomy? Trisomy means 2n plus 1. There is one extra copy of 21st chromosome that can be checked. If there is any extra copy of 18 syndrome, then it is the Edwards syndrome. If there is a extra copy of 13th chromosome, then it is the Patau syndrome. So that can be checked. So this is the chromosomal disorder, and here what do we have? These are the genetic disorders. So even the thalassemia can be checked. Okay, even the thalassemia can be checked. And moreover, in that amniotic fluid, fetal cells are there, and even some metabolic, some proteins from the fetus, other proteins are also found there. And let me tell you, with the help of this technique, we can also check a neural tube defect, which is even the birth defect, right? Neural tube defect, birth defect, that is spina bifida. Okay, right? Do you know about this? This can also be checked with the help of this. Yes, we can also check spina bifida, right? Yes, please. This can also be checked. Yes or no? It's a neural tube defect, spina bifida. So it can also be checked. How? See, if there is neural tube defect in the amniotic fluid, AFP will be there. That is this is basically what? AFP. AFP will only be present in the amniotic fluid if the neural tube is not properly developed. So high level of AFP, right? High level of AFP can confirm this. So what is this? AFP. A stands for obviously alpha here. Alpha fetoprotein it is. Alpha fetoprotein. So if neural tube is not properly developed, then that AFP can leak into that amniotic fluid and its high amount can be checked. So this can also be done with the help of amniocentesis. Is that clear? So phenylketonuria, which is the metabolic disorder, which is the innate metabolic disorder, that can also be checked with the help of this technique. So this is what amniocentesis is. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay, done? Sure? Okay, so done. So next is the population stabilization and the birth control. This is what we have to discuss. So population, what is actually the population? Total number of individual of a species present in a given area. So when you are talking about the population, you consider the individuals of the same species. We will not consider the individual of the different species. Like somebody is counting the population of humans, they'll consider the humans only. They'll not consider how many dogs or the other pets are living at their place. So obviously individuals of same species will be considered. Okay, so World Population Day, it is on 11th of July. So increased health facilities, right? You know that along with the better living condition, because of that, the population increased explosively. Okay, so this is some data from the NCERT. Very old it is, but still it is given in NCERT. So world population 2 billion, that is 2000 million in 1900. Then 0 to about 6 billion by 2000, 7.2 billion in 2011. Okay, so do we need to remember? This data is given in your book. So obviously, you know that NCERT is very important for us. So we have to. And in India, 350 million at the time of our independence, the billion mark by 2000, and it crossed 1.2 billion in May 2011. So that's what you have to remember. So as per the 2011 census report, the population growth rate was less than 2%. Right? It was less than 2%. That is 20 people per 1,000 per year, a rate at which our population would increase rapidly. But in 2023, this is as per 2011, as per 2023, India overtook China as the country with the largest population in the world. Right? So imagine, with more than 1.43 billion people, China now has the second largest population in the world with just 1.4 billion inhabitants. So this is, are you getting my point? This is the change, okay? Is that clear? Sure? Sure? Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay? Any doubts? Done? So you can just you can just mark it in your NCERT, okay? Okay. So regarding the amniocentesis also, the amendments or, this PCP and DT Act and all that we will discuss with the MTP. So don't worry about that. As I said, we will also discuss the amendments related to that. So amniocentesis is just having the statutory ban. This is the population related data from your book. So this is what you have to remember. So to overcome this explosion, right, we have to motivate the couples to have the small families. They should get the incentives. They should use the contraceptive method so that, they can maintain the small families. So if the marriageable age, if it will be raised, right, that female to 18 years, instead of that, right, just say females are having 18 years is our marriageable age now, so it can go to, so statutory raising of marriageable age of the female to 18 and that of males to 21. We still have that, right? So, but other than that, let me tell you, I don't know whether it is, I think it is not approved yet. Then it is, there was also something, it was also put forwarded that female age should, marriageable age should increase. Like right now it is 18. From 18 we can move it to 21, 22 for the females and for the males as well. So yet it is not applicable. Okay, it is not applicable. Okay, chali. So now exam, so one question that can be asked in exam is one to related to this. Yes, they can ask you the question related to this given in NCERT. Amniocentesis, we have already discussed. So I told you which one is the genetic disorder, the chromosomal disorder, the metabolic disorder. You have the PKU. Okay, even the thalassemia can also be detected with it, and it is a neural tube defect, right? Spina bifida. So if neural tube is not properly developed, then AFP, right? It can just come out in the amniotic fluid. If there is a high level of AFP, then it indicates that neural tube is not developed well. So it is alpha fetoprotein. This is what you people can remember. So this is important for exam. Sorry for this. So this is important for exam, guys. So the next thing that we have to discuss is, yes, please. The next thing that we have to discuss is contraceptive method. So this is another important topic which we have to keep in our mind. Is that clear? This is another important topic that we have to keep in our mind. Understood? Okay. So let's start. So what so what is the meaning of contraceptive methods that can prevent the pregnancy, right? That can prevent the pregnancy. Is that clear? Just a minute. Okay, so that's what we have to discuss. So any doubts? Any doubts? Okay, so now we have to discuss what? We have to discuss the contraceptive method. Why contraceptive methods are important? Because they prevent the undesired pregnancies. Okay, and why it is important? It is important, the family planning is important, right? Because it will be like a check on the population growth. So population, if it is too much, you know that we are already suffering from that. The competition is high, right? The even the unemployment is there, poverty is increasing, crime is increasing. So all that things are. So the scientific study of, right, the scientific study of human population is demography. What's that? It is demography. So what is demography? It is the scientific study of human population. Okay, so contraceptive method, right? Contraceptive methods, they can prevent unwanted pregnancies. So obviously it is also sort of check on the excessive population growth. So when we talk about the contraceptive method, before discussing this, that what type of method is the ideal method, let me tell you how can we prevent it. It's very simple. We can prevent it at the level of gamete formation. First thing is if gametes are not forming, but obviously gamete formation is important, right? So firstly, there should be like the methods we can there are methods which first prevent what? The fusion of the gametes, basically the fertilization, right? These are the kind of barrier methods which will not allow the sperm and ovum to fuse. So there are different ways. Just for an example, mainly the contraceptive methods, they are for the females, right? More contraceptive methods are there for the males as well, but more contraceptive methods are for the females. Why? Because female has to bear the child, right? Female has to bear the child. So there are many steps at which we can stop it. Just for an example, very first thing is that if gamete fusion is not there, fertilization is not there, then obviously there will be no pregnancy. This is the first thing. So there are different ways to do that, right? A couple can have the unprotected sexual intercourse or the coitus when female is not ovulating, yeah, female so which is considered as a safe period. We will discuss it under here as well, right? In the case of males, when they are having the sexual intercourse, if they won't ejaculate the semen in the female genital tract, then there will be no pregnancy. Then let's suppose if sperms are there in the female genital tract, there are contraceptive methods which make sure that they if they are in the vagina, they don't go further, right? They don't pass to the fallopian tube. These type of methods are also there. There are methods, which kills the sperm. If there are sperms in the female genital tract, they kill the sperm so that they should not be able to fertilize the ovum. And sometimes even there are methods, right, which can even terminate the pregnancy if, let's suppose, if there is unprotected sexual intercourse. So in a defined time span, if female takes that particular medicine, then obviously the implantation can be, or the pregnancy can be stopped. Are you getting my point? So all the things are there. There are different methods. And if by any chance, if there is pregnancy, then we know that the abortion, right, the induced abortion, that or medical termination of pregnancy, these are the methods basically. So there are different ways. Okay, there are different methods, but majorly they are for the female. So here you can see, when we talk about the ideal contraceptive, it should be user friendly, of course, right? A couple or a person should know how to use it. It should not be very complicated, right? It should be easily usable, right? Easily available. It should be effective and reversible. If it is not reversible, let's suppose if a couple, if they don't want to conceive now, but they want to do it later, but if it isn't, this method is not reversible, it will be of no use, then it should not have any side effect, or if there is any side effect, that should be very less, and it should not be able to interfere with the libido, right? So what is libido? Libido means sexual drive. So it should not have any role with the libido, right? The desire, the sexual desire. Okay, so these are the ideal contraceptive methods, right? So easy to use, easily available. They should not be very expensive, right? The people should know how to use it. They should be easily reversible, right? So whenever they want to conceive, they can also, and it should not have side effect. And if there is any side effect, they should be very less. So it should not play any role with the libido. Is that clear? That is the sex drive. Is that clear? So contraceptive methods mein, what are we going to discuss? We will talk about the natural or the traditional methods. Okay, which are obviously not 100% right, but yeah, natural or the traditional methods are there, or I would say here that basically they will come under the temporary methods. So see, all of it, so all of them, what are they? They are the temporary method. They are the temporary method, all of it. And this one is going to be the permanent method. Okay, the surgical method, where we will discuss vasectomy and tubectomy. So obviously it is in the case of male. So it will be, vas deferens will be cut and tied. So the gamete should not pass, right? The semen will not contain the gametes here. Tubectomy mein, fallopian tube, it will be cut and tied. It will be cut and tied. Is that clear? Understood? So all of them are the temporary method or spacing method. This one is going to be the permanent method. Is that clear? So natural or traditional methods are there. Barrier methods are there. Intrauterine devices are there. Yes, please. Intrauterine devices are there. There are oral contraceptive pills, right? Basically comes under the hormonal method, right? So we have the natural or the traditional method, barrier method, the chemical methods or the hormonal methods are there. So that is what we have to discuss now. Is that clear? So let's start with the natural method first. Okay, let's start with the natural methods first. So natural methods, also known as what? Also known as traditional methods. Earlier they were used. And if you will read the history of the contraception, right, trust me, you will be amazed to know. There are so many, there are so many different things. Just give it a try, right? After your NEET exam, whenever you feel like whatever topic you love now, you read about it. Okay, just for your curiosity, because it is not just about, qualifying the exam. You should have that interest in your subject. So if you will read the history of the contraceptive method, you'll be amazed to know that what females they used to do to avoid the pregnancy, right? To avoid the pregnancy, what female used to do. So now we are going to talk about what? We are going to talk about the temporary or the spacing method, and we are going to talk about the natural methods first, right? Then we will talk, and it is obviously also a temporary method. So what are we going to discuss, guys? First, natural method. right? Natural method, so which include periodic abstinence or the rhythm method. Periodic abstinence or the rhythm method. So this one is related to the menstrual cycle of the female, right? So this one is related to what? This one is related to the, this one is related to the, related to what? It is related to the, yes, please, menstrual cycle of the female. So when we talk about the menstrual cycle, see, just let's suppose so on an average, what do we say? Right, on an average, it is for 28 or 29 days for a healthy individual menstrual cycle, right? Now here we say that 3 to 5 days, the first 3 to 5 days, what do we say? It is the bleeding phase, right? Menstrual phase or the bleeding phase. Which phase is there? It is the menstrual phase or the bleeding phase, where all the hormones, the gonadotropins, in the initially gonadotropins are less, FSH, LH, estrogen, progesterone, they all are less, right? Initially, what do we see? Less GnRH, so obviously less FSH, LH, and even the estrogen, progesterone, they are also less. Estrogen, progesterone, they are also less. So, like, let's suppose this phase can last for 3 days or for the 5 days. So by the end of this phase, slowly the secretion of these hormones, it starts. So now let's suppose if from 6 to day 13, this is basically the follicular phase. Which phase is there? It is basically the follicular phase, which is also referred to as proliferative phase, right? The proliferation is there or the follicular growth is there. So obviously high FSH will be there, right? High FSH is there, high estrogen will be there. That will result in the increase of luteinizing hormone as well. And on the 14th day, that results in ovulation. So no doubt we study it like this, that 14th day will be for the ovulation, but it is always plus minus 2 days. That's what we have to consider, right? When we study the menstrual cycle, which we have already discussed in the human reproduction, you know that the 14th day is the day of ovulation, when the secondary oocyte will be released. What will be released? Secondary oocyte. And it is done when there is the LH surge. It doesn't matter how high FSH is, how high estrogen is. If LH is not, if luteinizing hormone is not high, right? If luteinizing hormone is not high, the ovulation will not occur. This is what we read. And why this LH is high? There is some unknown mechanism, right? In which we see that when there is the 12th, 13th day of the female menstrual cycle, all of a sudden the amount of LH increases, and on 14th day it is at its peak. That's why the ovulation occurs, right? And then after that, what is this? This is the luteal phase or the secretory phase, right? So here the progesterone is high. So now obviously if you talk about the sexual intercourse, and that too properly, the unprotected, right, sexual intercourse, yes please, right? So here we see that first 7 days of menstrual cycle and first 7 days, you can write down first 7 days before, first 7 days before menstrual cycle and 7 days after menstrual cycle. First 7 days before menstrual cycle and 7 days after menstrual cycle, it is considered as a safe period. It is considered as the period in which female can have unprotected sexual intercourse, right? And the chances of pregnancy are not there. So first 7 days may, you know that, as I said, these hormones are less, the follicles are developing, gamete formation is not there. And then first 7 days before, this is after the menstruation, yeah, I would say this part, right? First 7 days, then I would say, yes, first 7 days after menstrual cycle, this after menstrual cycle, when the gamete, the follicles are developing but gamete is not formed yet, and the first 7 days before this menstrual cycle, right? Before this menstrual cycle. So it is considered to be the safe period. So this is the time period when female can have the unprotected sexual intercourse, and there will be, yes, yes, please, no pregnancy. Is that clear? Right? So these 14 days will not show the ovum in the fallopian tube, so the fertilization will not occur. Is that clear? Right? Right? So a couple should avoid, unprotected sexual intercourse from day 10 to day 17 of menstrual cycle. Is that clear? They should avoid the sexual intercourse in this time period. Is that clear? In this time period. So 14th day, as I said, so you can even consider plus minus 2 days. That's why day 10 is considered and day 7. But for that, obviously female should be very clear about her, you know, a menstrual cycle should have the, she should have that clear idea about it. Is that clear? Is that clear? So this is the first method, that is the periodic abstinence, and also known as, so it is also known as, yes, rhythm method. So couples avoid or abstain from coitus during date 10 to 17 of the menstrual cycle, when ovulation could be expected. So they should avoid the unprotected sexual intercourse. So as I said, as chances of fertilization are high during this period, so in this period female is fertile. So if any couple is interested in having the baby, so they should have the unprotected sexual intercourse in this fertile period. So in the market, you know, these kits are also available in the market. These type of kits, the ovulatory kits, are also available, where female can check, you know, when she's ovulating, and at that time, you know, that the estrogen will be very high. So therefore, by abstaining from the coitus during this period, the conception can be prevented. Then comes the coitus interruptus, which is also known as withdrawal method. So again, all these methods, they are not 100% safe, but they are the natural or the traditional method. And moreover, as I said, read about the history, you'll be amazed to know. Like, I still remember, I have read somewhere that dung was used to avoid the pregnancy. There are medicinal plants, you know, that can just induce the abortion. Females used to take that, but they used to be very risky. So all that things are there. Okay, so withdrawal method here, male will remove the penis out of female vagina before the ejaculation. Basically, male will not release the semen inside the female genital tract. So male partner withdraws his penis from the vagina just before ejaculation, so that can avoid the insemination. So what is insemination? Yes, please. What is insemination? Transfer of male gamete inside the female genital tract with the help of male copulatory organ, penis. So that will be avoided in this time. Then comes LAM, lactational amenorrhea, right? LAM, lactational amenorrhea. See, when after the childbirth, right? Childbirth is parturition. After that, a female lactates. Lactation is there, which means her mammary glands, they are making the milk and she's feeding the baby. During that time, when we talk about the milk production, we know it very well, students. When you talk about the milk production, you know it very well that it is done with the help of the hormone prolactin. Am I right? It is done with the help of the hormone prolactin. So prolactin, this hormone is responsible for the milk production, and it is released from the anterior lobe of pituitary. Who's going to release that? Anterior lobe of pituitary. If I have to be very specific here, so anterior lobe of pituitary, that is adenohypophysis, and here, to be more precise, pars distalis, right? Which releases 6 hormones. Which hormones are there? Growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, adenocorticotropin hormone, prolactin, then FSH is there, LH is there, isn't it? So when you talk about this prolactin, it helps in what? Milk production. So after the parturition, when female is heavily lactating, see, this thing can vary from female to female, right? So when a female is heavily lactating, prolactin is required for that, obviously. So at that time, these hormones are missing in female's body, FSH and LH. If FSH and LH is not there, if follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone is not there, then it is obvious that they will not be able to act on gonads. The gamete formation will not be there, right? They will not be able to act on gonads and the gamete formation will not be there. So if during that time period, if female will have the unprotected sexual intercourse, the chances of pregnancy will not be there. Are you getting my point? The chances of pregnancy will not be there. Is that clear? The chances of pregnancy will not be there. So that's why when a female is heavily lactating, right, the pregnancy will not occur. But as I said, this time period, it can be believed to be for 6 months, but it varies from person to person. Some females after the childbirth, they don't even get their periods for around 1 year or 1.5 year. That type of cases are also there. So as I said, it varies from individual to individual. So here you can see lactational amenorrhea, that evolution, therefore the cycle do not occur during the period of intense lactation, following parturition, so female will not get pregnant. So this is about this method. So we are done with it. Next part is, okay, so let's talk about the temporary method, also called spacing method. And here the very first thing and the very common method is the barrier method. So from the word itself, you people can understand what this method is trying to tell us, right? So it is which method it is? It is the barrier method. Yes or no? Yes or no? It is the barrier method. Is that clear? Sure. Okay. So any doubts so far? One minute, please. Okay, so now we will talk about the barrier method, right? So which will prevent the meeting of sperm and ovum. This is the main motive of these methods. Is that clear? So what is the name here? It is the barrier method. So ovum and sperms, as I told you, they'll be prevented physically meeting with the help of the barrier. So for male, condoms are there and they are very commonly used, right? It is a very commonly used method. Okay, so condoms. So here you can see this is the image given in the NCERT. So this is the condom for the females, which we also call as femidomes. Okay, and this one is for the males. So what is it going to do? It is basically going to cover the, right? Just say we know that the male copulatory organ, penis. Okay, so this is a latex sheath which is going to cover this, during the sexual intercourse, so that when male will ejaculate, the semen will has to be get collected in this latex sheath only, right? This is for the condom. And what is the speciality here? They are one time, they are used one time, they are one time use. So protect from STIs, that is sexually transmitted infections, right? Like like AIDS, right? It protects from AIDS, HIV, AIDS, right? It protects from that. So this is the beauty of this method. So it is easily available, right? They are easy to use, right? Plus they are easy to use, they are easily available, right? And one-time use is there. That is why it is also preventing STI, sexually transmitted infection. They will not allow that infection to spread. Is that clear? So they are made up of that latex sheath. And there are some other expensive condoms as well. Like some females, they are allergic to this latex sheath, so they are made up of polyurethane. Is that clear? So here you guys can see, right, the condoms are the barrier method of thin rubber / latex that are used to cover the penis in the male or vagina and cervix in the female. So let me tell you about the female condoms. So basically when you talk about the female condoms, we know that they are not so popular. And I told you they are the femidomes. Okay, they are femidomes. So earlier what was there, right, the barrier methods, they were basically regarding they were basically for the males only. Matlab women, they had very little control over this thing. So you know that result, females were getting pregnant, unwanted pregnancies were there, you know, sexually transmitted infections, they were spreading. So somewhere in, right, I'll give you a little bit idea of this. So somewhere around early 1980s, right, the female condoms, like the research began regarding this, that female condom should also be there, so that female should also have the control over these disease. And it is mainly basically for the initially, matlab, if I talk about the initial stage of this thought or the discoveries, it is basically for the sex workers, because males, they were avoiding the use of the condoms, and that sex workers, they were getting pregnant, they were getting infection. So from that this idea came. And moreover at that time, HIV AIDS infection was also spreading, so this came. So somewhere in 1990s, female condoms they made. But what was the issue then, right? What was the issue then? They were made up of polyurethanes. Like if I talk about first female condoms, so they were early around 1990s, right? They were early around 1990s, the first female condoms, and they were made up of, as I said, polyurethane. Okay, so females, they need to fix that in their vagina. Okay, they can do it by herself. But the problem was these condoms, they were quite thick, and they were making the noise during the sexual intercourse. So that sort of issues were there, right? I'm talking about the early discovery of the female condoms. They were expensive, right? They were noisy during the intercourse. The material was quite thick, right? But yeah, they were the first approved female initiated barrier methods. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes? Okay. So again, second generation or the improved version of the condoms, they formed in 2000, and they were made up of nitrile oxide. They were made up of nitrile oxides, and yeah, they were even the WHO approved, right? So they were made up of nitrile, not the oxide, that is not a gas here, nitrile rubber, of course. So they were made up of nitrile rubber, and they were WHO approved as well, right? Right? So this is about the female condoms. So here you can see, so females, they can use that, they can cover the vagina or the cervix in the female, okay, just before the coitus, so that ejaculated semen, it would be collected here in it, right, and the pregnancy will not occur. So the first this male condom was Nirod. It's a popular brand of condom for the male. So use of condom has increased in the recent year due to its additional benefit of protecting the user from STIs and the AIDS. So STI and AIDS, who's protecting? These condoms are protected. Is that clear? So both are one-time use, disposable, self-inserted. So they give the privacy to the users. So other than that, for females, what are they? Diaphragms are there, cervical caps are there, volts are there. So you can see the diaphragms, these, but they can be used again and again. They are reusable. So because they are reusable, so there are chances that they can cause the sexually transmitted infections. Though when next time female has to use it, she need to put it in very hot boiling water, right? But female should not share it with somebody else, like with some other female. So but still, because they can be used more than once, so they were not assuring the protection from the sexually transmitted infection. And you can see that females, they need to fix it in their vagina right here at this covering, so that the semen should not pass further. But what is the issue with these methods, and how can females increase the efficacy of these methods? They used to apply the chemicals on that, right? They used to apply the chemicals on that can kill the sperm and increase the efficacy. Okay, that can kill the sperm and can increase the efficacy. Okay, so there are some jellies, creams, foams that were used along with that. Okay, okay, done. Any doubt here? Done. So you can see that they are that, cap-like structures that are covering the cervix. They are having the spermicidal agents as well. And see, look at the cervical cap. It is blocking the sperm from entering the cervix. It is having the spermicides, which will kill the sperm. I'll talk about them. Okay, so these are that, plastic, I would say. What can I call them? I can simply call them as some rubber caps, I would say. Right? What are they? They are the rubber caps. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. Sure. So they prevent conception by blocking the entry of sperm through the cervix. They are reusable. Okay, they can provide protection from cervical cancer or STI, but only up to certain extent. Okay, so spermicidal creams, jellies, and foams are used along with it. So when I say spermicides or spermicidal creams, yes, spermicides, what will they do? They kill sperm. How can they kill sperm? They inhibit their oxygen uptake, right? How can they kill them? They inhibit their oxygen uptake. So these type of chemicals, these foams, these jellies, these creams, what they do? They have KMNO4, lactic acid, citric acid, boric acid in them. So they have KMNO4, citric, lactic acid, boric acid, even zinc sulfate, etc. So they all are spermicidal agents. They kill the sperm. Is that clear? They kill the sperm. Is that clear? Yes, they can destroy the sperms. Okay, so if I have to give you the example, so there are many, right? So they are, such type of chemicals are included in the chemical methods. So we have vaginal foam or tablets. Or tablets, right? The vaginal foams or the tablets are there. Like today, the brand name is today there. Some creams and jellies are also there. Cream jellies are also there. So they are having such, they are having such chemicals that can kill that. So we are discussing the barrier method. Done. Okay, then now, they all are temporary methods, of course. So when females, they use these, diaphragm, volt cap, so they apply such, jellies or foams, right? Jellies, forms, they can just use it. Okay, they can just use it so that they will have the better action. Is that clear? Okay, that's how it works. Understood? Chaliye, so the next thing is a very important thing, that is IUDs. Okay, next is very, very, very important IUDs. Uh, chemical methods, so I have already discussed. Okay, so vaginal forms or creams are there, so they can be used with that. So we will discuss IUDs, then we will discuss about the hormonal methods, and after that, emergency contraceptive pills. So we'll go for MTPs, their amendments, yes, STIs and infertilities. So yeah, within 1.5 hour we'll be able to finish this. So ready? So let's talk about, see, I don't know what is the issue with the screen today. Chale, so let's talk about the IUDs, a very important topic, right? Let's talk about the IUDs. So they are IUDs, IUDs, intra, like within, uterine, uterus. So they are injected within the uterus. It's a very popular method, right? It's the popular method of spacing the pregnancy. Like it is widely used, and especially in the rural India, right? Rural India, it is very popularly used. In urban India, females, they prefer the hormonal pills, but in rural India, it is very, very popularly used, this particular method. Okay, intrauterine devices, and it is mainly used for spacing the pregnancy. Just say, let's suppose if female is having one child and they want to have another baby after 3 to 5 years, right, 5 to 7 years, so they can just drop these methods. So as I said, it is very common in the rural India, but in the urban India, females, they prefer the hormonal method. So there are three types of IUDs that we discuss, right? There are how many types of IUDs that we discuss? There are three types of IUDs that we discuss. The first one is the non-medicated IUDs. You need to remember the function, right? Their examples. Just say here we have lips loop, right? Not so used, but still used in some countries. So copper releasing IUDs, then obviously they are going to do what? They'll release the copper ion, right? Copper T, copper 7. This is what we have. Multi-load 375. And then we have the hormonal IUDs. Then obviously they will release the hormonal IUDs. So progestasert, LNG20, right? So they will release the hormones that will make the cervix hostile for the sperm. So examples are important. Then we will discuss about it with their pictures. So yes, how the copper releasing IUD is going to help, how everything is going to help, that's what we have to discuss. So just write it down quickly. Yes, please. Quick. Okay. Okay, so when you talk about this non-medicated IUDs, do you know that it is this lips loop, right? It is double S shaped. This one is double S shaped, and it is one of that early IUDs used, right? Very early IUDs used, right? This one, this lips loop. Actually, this lips loop is made up of polyethylene, right? It is actually made up of polyethylene having barium sulfate, right? And this barium sulfate, matlab it is made up of polyethylene. It is having the barium sulfate that make it radio opaque. What is the meaning of this particular thing that it make it radio opaque? That it is visible under X-ray, right? This one is visible under X-rays, and it is having the nylon string as well, right? This one is having the nylon string. This is basically for position, right? To mark the position. So this IUD, as I said early, this is very early use. So this act as a foreign body in female uterus. It acts as a foreign body in female's uterus, right? It acts as what? It acts as a foreign body in female's uterus. So because of that, what will it do? It will cause a local inflammatory reaction, right? You know, na, in the body, that inflammatory reaction will be there. So because that inflammatory reaction will be there, so phagocytotic cells, they'll reach to this place. So if there will be sperm, they are going to eat that up, they are going to destroy it. That's how this non-medicated one works. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? So this non-medicated IUDs, they will not, no copper ion they are going to release. They are not going to release any hormone, right? So they will just act like a, right? They will just act like a foreign body in the female uterus. So they have polyethylene, which is having barium sulfate. So barium sulfate will make it radio opaque. Basically, it will be visible. It will be visible on X-rays. Is that clear? Is that clear? So nylon string will help to check the position and if required to remove it. Is that clear? Right? So local inflammatory reaction will be there. So phagocytosis of the sperm will be there. So uterine contractions will increase. So if there will be any sperm there, the fertilization will not occur and the implantation will not occur. So that is how they work. Okay, the non-medicated IUD, which is basically what? Which is the lips loop, right? So double S shaped it is. Got that? Right? So barium sulfate makes it what? Understood? So these are the nylon string for positioning and for removal. So that is it. Then comes the next is what? Copper T, copper 7 multi-load 375, copper releasing. So examples are very, very important here, right? Examples are very important. So obviously they'll release what? They'll release copper ions. What that copper ions will do? They will suppress the sperm movement, the sperm motility, and the fertilizing capacity of these sperms. Is that clear? That's how they work, right? So you can see that T shape, that N shape, then that the multi-load 375. So IUDs, they are the ideal contraceptive for the females, right, who want to delay the pregnancy or want to space the pregnancy. So told you already about that. Then comes the hormone releasing, where we have the progestasert and we have the LNG20. So as I said, examples are very important and already told you they are the one that will make what? They are the one that will make the uterus hostile for the sperms. Is that clear? Is that clear? Any doubt? Sure? Sure? Any doubt here? Done. LNG20. So this is LNG's one gestral 20. You can check the spelling. Levonorgestrel. Is that clear? You can just check the spelling. So LNG20. Is that clear, students? Right? So it will release around 20, I would say, about 20 micrograms of levonorgestrel per day in the uterus. In the uterus. Am I clear? Done. So I hope you know what this levonorgestrel is, right? It is nothing, but this is the progesterone hormone. Okay, so let me teach you the hormonal methods, then you will understand how this progesterone will help here. Done. So this part done, this part done. So the chemical method already discussed, vaginal foam and cream. So females over the diaphragms, over the volt cap, over the cervical caps, they can use it and then it will help to, yeah, so then it will help them to kill the sperms effectively, more effectively. Okay, that's how it works. So chemical method done. Then comes the hormonal method. As I said, this is the most widely used, and hormonal methods are very popular in the urban India. Females, they prefer it. So this is what we have to understand. So here you can see it will include the oral pills, injections, and as well as the implants. So female or oral pills are there. We have the example Mala D, Mala N. So these are the, right, the daily oral pills. Okay, so they are started. So before, one second, there are different types of pills. I'll show you first. ये देखो, जैसे this is what we have here. Now they have to start, female has to start during the first 7 days of the menstrual cycle, like the initial period of the menstrual cycle, female has to start. And if I have to be very specific, so I'll say the last day of period. She is going to start it on her last day of the period. So she has to take these medicines. Just see, these type of tablets, they are coming. So this is the start. It is written. Just let's suppose you know that when a female is having her periods, right? They are not like that the first of this month, second of this month. You know that cycle is different. It depends on our circadian rhythms. So on the last day of her periods, on the 7th day of menstrual cycle, or on the last day of her period, she has to take it. Okay, so they are what? They are the hormonal pills basically. Firstly, let me explain that to you. Right, they are basically the hormonal pills. They are having the hormones. So we have the combination pills which are having progesterone and estrogen. There are pills, they basically contain synthetic progesterone and estrogen. So there are the pills which are, you know, having the progesterone only, synthetic progesterone only. It depends, right? So combined pills are also there, and the pills having progesterone only, they are also there. So she has to take it, and she has to take it every day, right? So she has to take it for next 21 days, because after that again she will have her periods, menstrual cycle. So initially it was not like that. These tablets were not like that. Female used to give only 21 tablets, they have to take it. But then what was happening, they were just forgetting it during her periods, right? So just to have that in track, then these red color, they are just the iron supplements, right? They are just the iron supplements. Are you getting my point? So if, let's suppose, if a female forget about taking the pill one day, so next day she can take 2 tablets together. But if, let's say, she forget it for 2 consecutive days, right, and then she has to consult her doctor, right? She has to consult her doctor, and doctor can advise then what she has to do. So basically they have to take it every day when they are having their periods. So they will take this. These are nothing but the iron supplement, and then again on the last day of her period she will again start it. So they are having the hormones in our body. Then how these hormones are helping, how these hormones are because if it is having estrogen, progesterone, or progesterone, then how these hormones or hormonal pills are preventing the, or are acting like a contraceptive method. I'll tell you a very simple story, right? It is like you are making fool out of your brain. Now let's suppose if in female's body progesterone is there, that will send a signal to the hypothalamus, right, or to the pituitary, that there is no need, because progesterone is there. Then it is like no need for FSH/LH, no need for FSH/LH, no need to release the FSH and LH, because progesterone is like, yeah, I am already there in the blood. Why do you need to release them again and again? So FSH and LH, if they will not be released by the pituitary, they will not act on gonads. And when they will not act on gonads, when they will not be acting on gonads, the gamete formation will not be there, the gamete release will not be there, and the pregnancy will not occur. So that is how it works. Okay, this is the mechanism of action, right? Just here you can see the daily oral pills, see, are started preferably within the first day of 5 days of her menstrual cycle. Pills have to be taken daily for the period of 21 days. And as I said, on the last day of her menstrual cycle, female has to start it, right? So after a gap of 7 days, that 7 days are what? 7 days are basically the time for the periods. So during which menstruation occurs, it has to be repeated in the same pattern till the female desire to prevent the conception. Told you already. So that's why in the market, such type of tablets are there, which also contain the iron supplement, right? Which also contain the iron supplement, so that female, you know, she should have that habit ki I have to take it daily. Is that clear? Is that clear? Understood? Right? So composition of oral pills. What do we have here? Synthetic progesterone high, synthetic estrogen, that is low. Synthetic progesterone, high. Synthetic estrogen, that is low, right? So these are the combination pills which are having both. Is that clear? Which are having both. So what is the mechanism of action? Told you already, it will prevent the ovulation. How? Because it will block the pituitary secretion of gonadotropins, because already in our body we have this progesterone estrogen that will give a signal to hypothalamus that no need to release gonadotropin releasing hormone. So no FSH, no LH, no ovulation will be there. So progesterone only preparations, right? They also render the cervical mucus, means the hormonal pills which are having the progesterone only, what will they do? They will render this mucus, they'll make it thick, scanty, so that sperm should not be able to pass, right? They should not be able to cross, they should not be able to reach fallopian tube, and the fertilization is not going to occur. Is that clear? The fertilization will be absent. So this is how they work. So that's it. This is about the hormonal method. So then let's talk about the Saheli, which is the mini pill. Okay, it is the weekly oral pill, and best thing is it is non-steroidal. It is having centromane, right? Centromane or maloxifin in its preparation. So it is a non-steroidal prepared by CDRI Lucknow. So what is the CDRI? Central Drug Research Institute. Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow it is. Done, students? So here the centromane or maloxifin or maloxifin, this is basically what? They are anti-estrogenic, right? Anti-estrogenic means, what is this? What is the meaning of that? They are anti-estrogenic. They prevent the implantation activity and cause the contraception, right? So basically they'll make the uterus like the receptors for the estrogen will not be there. That will not work, right? The estrogen will not be able to bind there. This is how it works. Are you getting my point? This is how this works. Is that clear? So this is the Saheli, right? Yes, please. So it is the weekly oral pill. So and here the failure rate is very, very, very less, and this is having very less side effects as well. So you can just write down. So it contains the progestin only. Okay. Okay. Done. So you can just name it. So Saheli is the mini pill. Why? Because it is having progestin only. This is a synthetic progesterone. So we say now it is weekly oral pill, but for initial 3 months. Initial 3 months, twice a week. Twice a week. So it is basically doing what? What will it do? It will just act like anti-estrogenic. Okay, so it is a mini pill having only one hormone, and this Mala D, Mala N, where are you going to put it? They are the combined pills having estrogen, progesterone, both, right? They are the combined pills having estrogen, progesterone, both. That's it. Understood? Okay, then injections may DMPA, which is basically depot medroxyprogesterone acetate, having the same function. Then in the implants, right, there are the subcutaneous injection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 given in the NCRT as well, right? They are also given in the NCRT. They are the subdermal implants. So they are placed underneath the skin of the arm. They can even be functional for 5 years. They will also keep on releasing the hormone. So it will also work in the same way. So this is about the hormonal methods. Is that clear? So this is about the hormonal method. So combined pill will have both progesterone and estrogen. Mini pill, which is Saheli, right, which is having least side effect, it will be having only one hormone. So this is what you can write. Okay, do it quick. So it is Depo-Provera hormonal injections, right? Progesterone derivative injections they are. Right, but we cannot say that, students, that all the methods are you cannot say that all the methods are having no side effects. Least side effects are there. They say this is the Depo-Provera, I told you already, right? So this is Depomedroxy progesterone acetate. So sometimes it can even cause the heavy flow, right? But what we have to remember here, centromania or meloxifene, which is basically anti-estrogenic. So here the side effects are believed to be minimum. Baki, these are the emergency or the contraceptive pills, right? So I told you na LNG, Leveno, yes, levonorgestrel, right? So this is basically what? Progesterone only. So unwanted 72, right? I pill. So they are the emergency contraceptive pill that if female is having unprotected sexual intercourse, then within 72 hours, she can take this pill and it will avoid the pregnancy. That's it, right? It will avoid the pregnancy. Then after that, when we talk about the permanent method, which are having very less, right? I am not saying that the reversibility is not there. Reversibility is there because I have witnessed a surgery, right? So where, you know, couple, they were the, after the tubectomy, the female was there for the reversal of it. So the chances are there, but they are very less. So we have the vasectomy, we have the tubectomy. Vasectomy in the case of males, vas difference is tied and cut. Here fallopian tubes will be tied and cut. So now see, if fallopian tubes, they are tied and cut, what's going to happen? The egg will not be able to go further. Even the gametes will not be able to reach to that egg. Same here, the sperms will not be passed here. Okay, so that's why these are the permanent methods, right? They are basically causing the sterility. Okay, so it's not like that immediately, and this is a minor surgery, this vasectomy, and it is not like that it is immediately after the vasectomy that male can go for the unprotected sexual intercourse and the pregnancy will not be there. No, it's not like that, because after some time what will happen, still even after this surgery, there are chances that some sperms are still stored there, right? So for initial sexual intercourses, right, the male should go for the condoms or any other barrier methods, right? That should be preferred initially. And barrier methods are in general important because they protect from any sort of sexually transmitted infections. Okay, so when it comes to the side effects, you can see the nausea, abdominal pain, breakthrough bleeding, irregular menses, breast cancer, all of that can occur. Okay, done. So now let's talk about the MTP first, then infertility, and then at the end we will talk about the disease. So let's say it is 7:15. So let's have a short break. Let's have a short break from 5:15 to 5:30 p.m. Okay, done. Though it is not required, but still, after that we'll take another 1 hour to finish it. We don't have much here. Okay, we don't have much here, so we'll be able to finish it. We'll take hardly 1 hour or 1.5 hour to finish the next portion. Till then, I'll charge my mic as well. So hi everyone, welcome back. And I'll just need your 1 more hour to finish it. Ready? I just need your 1 more hour and I'll set you all free. And the next chapter on your request is biotechnology. Done? Okay. So now the topic that we have to discuss is the medical termination of pregnancy, which is also known as induced abortion, right? It is also known as induced abortion. What is the meaning of this word abortion? Abortion means the termination of that growing embryo or the fetus before its full development. Okay, before the full development, their termination is basically the abortion. Induced is when you are like inducing it, you are due to some medicine or something. When we induce that in a female's body, the reason can be anything. We will talk about it later. Then it is the induced abortion, and sometimes it happens like a female, she conceives and suddenly the baby get aborted. Anything can be there, any medical reason, any medical abnormality can be there, anything can be there. So that is the spontaneous abortion. This one is the induced abortion because it is externally induced, right? This is the medical termination of pregnancy. If I talk about this, is it good or not, ethical, unethical? So there are so many things, like for some people religiously, if I say that once that zygote has formed, they consider it as a formation of life only, that you are basically killing the life. So yeah, in many religion it is not at all acceptable, and there are many countries where the abortion is still illegal. In India it is legal. It was legalized in 1971. That's why I told you, do not confuse it with that family planning program that was in 1951. Okay, so 1971 in India it was legalized, but still there are some countries where it is still not legal. Like, it doesn't matter if that pregnancy is dangerous for that female, if the fetus is abnormal, if the pregnancy is due to rape, if the female is not mentally ready for that, whatsoever is the reason, there are certain countries which do not allow it at all. There it is illegal. Okay, there it is what? There it is illegal. So if I talk about the MTP, obviously the first MTP Act was in 1971, then it was in 2001, right? And then 2001 and 2012 or 13 was there, I'll let you know. Then 2023 major amendments were there. Initially it was for the married women only, then the unmarried women, they were also included in that. So if I talk about the MTP, so it is intentional or voluntary termination, or I would say induced abortion it is. So it is the intentional or voluntary termination of the pregnancy before full term, right? Before full term, it is a medical termination of pregnancy or the induced abortion. So nearly 45 to 50 million, just see this number, 45 to 50 million MTPs are performed in a year all over the world, which counts to 1/5 of the total number of the conceived pregnancy. Means out of the total number of conceived pregnancy, 1/5 they'll go for the abortion only. So whether to accept it or legalize it, right? It was debated, right, in many countries. So as I said, mainly it is the religious reason, and emotional, ethical, social issues are there. So government of India, as I told you, it legalized it in 1971 with some strict condition to avoid its misuse. This is not for the female feticide. This is not for controlling the population, right? But there are certain conditions in which it is legalized. So as I told you, that original act of MTP, it was there in 1971. So it was there in 1971, right? It was there in 1971. Okay, 1971. So in 1971, it was like married women can avail it only, right? The limit of gestation for this induced abortion, it was up to 20 weeks only, right? The opinion of doctor, right? One registered medical practitioner for first 12 weeks. 12 weeks means first trimester, and for if it has to go for above 12 weeks, then the signature from or the opinion of 2 registered medical practitioner was allowed, right? So this was it. So fetal abnormalities, right, to 20 weeks limit on gestation. So married women can avail it only, right? Married women can avail it only. Okay, so it was basically why it was implemented. It was implemented to reduce the unsafe abortions, right? Because there are some quacks, those who are not having the degrees, those who are not experts, they project themselves as an expert, they go for such kind of medical terminations, and that resulted in the death of many girls as well. So that is why it was implemented. So as I said, so here abortion, you can see it on the board as well, abortion was allowed up to 20 weeks only, right? So if it is a pregnancy is a risk to the mother's life, physically, mentally, if fetal abnormalities are there, if pregnancy is due to the rape, if there is a failure of contraception, then it was allowed. Is that clear? Is that clear? So it was initially, it was like that to reduce the unsafe abortion. Then one amendment was there in 2002 after that, right? So one amendment means some things were improvised there. So it was to make the abortion services more accessible, especially in rural areas. When we talk about this 2002 amendment, it is mainly for the rural areas, right? So termination was applied at the approved government centers, but it was also approved in the private centers as well. Matlab, not just in the government centers. In 2002, mainly the main agenda was that it should be accessible in the rural areas as well, right? In the rural areas as well. Yes, please, in the rural areas as well. So termination was allowed at approved government and private center. So district level committees for the approval and for the monitoring of this abortion centers, it was established. Is that clear? So gestation limit was still same in 2002. It was not even changed. It was still the 20 weeks only. Okay. Okay. Then the major amendment was this, right? The major amendment was this in 2021. Are you getting my point? So the major amendment was in 2021, and in this major amendment, so because why this amendment? Because rape cases, they were more, right? So better detection of fetal abnormality even often after 20 weeks was there, right? Women's reproductive rights were also there. So here in this part, you know, this gestation period, so this was the main, because gestation period moved from 20 weeks to 24 weeks. Is that clear? So both married and unmarried women can avail it. Okay, students. So if somebody is a rape victim, even if she's a minor, if there is a differently abled woman, if you know some emergency has affected women and she doesn't want to conceive the pregnancy, she doesn't want to continue the pregnancy, then it was there. So unmarried women, they were also included, and there was the confidentiality clause was also introduced when this was 2021, right? So identity of women must not be revealed. Identity of women must not be revealed. So these were the amendments here, right? These were the amendments here. Is that clear? Sure. Is that clear? So MTP Act is not basically for the sex determination, you know it very well, right? Sex determination is banned, right? There is a statutory ban on amniocentesis. That is why, because some people, some doctors, some practitioners, they used it for what? They used it for the sex determination. So sex determination is banned under PNDT Act, that is Preconception, Prenatal Diagnostic Act. Diagnostic Act. So sex determination is banned under that PND Act, right? 2003. So it is banned under that. So basically sex determination is banned, not the amniocentesis, right? So abortion for sex selective purpose is illegal basically. So that's what we have to remember. So it is Preconception, Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act rather, right? So it is the prohibition of, right? It is basically for the prohibition of illegal sex determination and even just to reduce the female feticide. So it is for that. Okay. So now here you people can see, right? So already told you about this, right? So MTPs are considered relatively safe during the first trimester because here the skeleton is still, right? It is still cartilaginous. Then with time, you know that development will also increase. The bony skeleton will also form. So up to 12 weeks, it is considered safe. And second trimester abortions, they are much riskier. That is why what is required, students. That is why the opinion from the 2 registered medical practitioners, it is required. Okay, so today my screen is not in the mood to work. Okay, so this is also given in NCERT, the Medical Termination Amendment Act 2017, but as I said, 2021 was main. So it was enacted by the government of India, was the intention of reducing incidences of illegal abortion and consequent maternal mortality and morbidity. So according to this, a pregnancy may be terminated on certain considered grounds within the first 12 weeks of pregnancy, on the opinion of one registered medical practitioner. If the pregnancy has lasted more than 12 weeks, then the two registered medical practitioner must be of the opinion, formed in the good faith, right? Okay. Okay. Understood? So the grounds for such terminations are: the continuation of the pregnancy would involve a risk to the life of the pregnant woman or of grave injury, physical or mental health. There is a substantial risk that that of the child were born, it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormality as to be seriously handicapped. Is that clear? Is that clear? Right? So, but as per, you can see, okay, so here just 2017 is given, 2017 is given, but in 2017 that bill was proposed, right? It was not finalized. So in 2021 it was finalized, right? Just I told you about the MTP Amendment Act 2021. So 2021 it was passed and it was enforced, but here it was just, I would say, it was only the proposed amendment, right? It was not passed, right? That is what you have to remember. So countries where still MTP is banned, right? Any reason can be that I told you: social, ethical, religious. There are so many, and religious reasons are very, very strong. So Dominican Republic, Iraq, Philippines, Jamaica. So there are many countries where it is still illegal. Okay. Done. So this is about it. Gestation period, you have to remember. Amniocentesis, we are already done with it. Now the next topic is infertility, right? So infertility, a large number of couples all over the world, including India, they are infertile. Why? When do we call them as infertile? When they are having the unprotected sexual intercourse for more than a year or 1.5 year, and they are not able to produce the babies. So this is what infertility is. So there can be primary infertility, where that couple is not having a baby, right? The female was not pregnant even once, right? There is secondary infertility, where they are having a child, they are not able to conceive for the second time, or she conceived but again then abortion occurred, something like that, right? So if I talk about the reasons for the infertility: physical reasons, congenital means by birth, there can be any disease, drugs, immunological, psychological reasons can be there for it. Okay, so now you know that infertility, again, especially in India, it is still a taboo, and basically the problem is the females are blamed, right? So initially no research was there in India to fight with this thing, but later on, when it was noticed that only females are getting blamed for infertility, right? And they are basically very severely affected because of all that. So researchers, they begin, and then I'll tell you about the first, I would say the first in vitro formula test tube baby of India. We'll discuss about it. So when it comes to the assisted reproductive technologies, that is ART, it is in vitro fertilization, basically IVF. So in vitro means in lab. The fertilization will be there in lab. So it is the in vitro fertilization, right? The sperm and the ovum will fuse there in the lab. It's not like that they will fuse in the lab or in the test tube, or the baby will develop in test tube. No, it's not like that, right? It is not like that the baby will develop in test tube. It's just that the gametes from the parents, right? Or if there is any donor, they'll be taken. Yes, please. They'll be taken, they'll be fertilized. They'll be fertilized in the lab under sterile conditions. Zygote will be formed. It will grow for some stages. Then it will be implanted in the mother or in the surrogate mother. What is the concept of the surrogate mother? Just as sometimes some females, they are unable to conceive, or they are unable to conceive. Their uterus is not suitable for pregnancy. Yeah, their age is not suitable, or we can say that sometimes some females, they are not even, they don't have the gamete formation proper, they don't have the gamete formation, or gametes are not healthy, or plus they cannot conceive. That can also be, this can be the first reason. Secondly, sometimes females, they don't want to give birth to the baby, so they go for surrogacy, surrogate mother. Like they'll either, they can use their own gamete, they can just fuse this, like the couple, they want to go for the surrogacy, right, male and female, their gametes will be fused in the lab, zygote will be developed, and it will be implanted in some other woman. Who that other woman can be, she can be a relative who's willing to help in that case. And these days, so like surrogacy, like some couples, they just pay to a lady so that she can conceive their baby, and then they take their bag, so like they can take their baby back. So it is like a kind of like, it is legal also, right, in many countries. And some, you know, the contracts are there, legal contracts are there, in which they're like, they'll take care of that female's needs, they'll provide them the money, and she'll give birth to their baby, and will then hand over that baby to that particular couple. So these are the things. So in India also, you can see many movies. There is one movie regarding Mimi, regarding this, right, where you can see the concept of surrogacy. And this is what the meaning of surrogacy is. And if I talk about that, Priyanka Chopra, right, the famous actress Priyanka Chopra, her baby girl is due to the surrogacy only, right? So sometimes females, they don't want to give birth to the baby, but they want their own baby, they want to propagate their own genes, or the genes only, so they can just go for the surrogacy. So it is like that. So that's a different concept. So in vitro fertilization is there, right, followed by embryo transfer, is basically this IVF, in vitro fertilization. So Louis Brown, the world's first test tube baby, born on 25th July 1978 in Oldham, Northwest England, has come to represent the origin story of technology-assisted human reproduction. First baby. The name of the first Indian test tube baby is Kanupriya Agarwal. We are not far behind it. See the year. 25th July 1978. 3rd October 1978, Kanupriya Agarwal, who was born on October 3rd, 1978. Late Dr. Subhash Mukherjee was the first ever person in India and the second in the world to create a baby through IVF procedure. But he didn't get the recognition for that. Many ethical or the religious issues, they were there. He ended up his life, right? He killed himself. You know, he didn't get recognition for his work. And when later on, Dr. Indira, right, when she conducted this procedure, then she got to know about his work, right? 2 doctors were there basically. Then he got the, right, he got that recognition for that. So on October 3rd, 1973, right, Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, right, Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. So he was second in the world. Is that clear? Is that clear? So you can just write down these names. Yes, please. Okay. So Durga Akka Kanupriya. Okay. So Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. So वैसे before that ना, मतलब this Kanupriya, मतलब this was unrecognized. Right, this was basically the unrecognized thing, right? So basically the first credit was given to, in 1986, right, Harsha Chhabra, right? She was believed to be the first test tube baby created in India, right? Location was Mumbai. So it was done by the team led by Dr. Indira Hinduja, Dr. Indira Hinduja. Okay, Dr. Indira Hinduja. Okay, so basically she was officially recognized by that ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Education and Research. But Durga Kanupriya Agarwal, 1978, born on 3rd October 1978 in Calcutta. This case is of Mumbai. So IVF was performed by Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. So he was the second one in the world who performed this, but he was not recognized. Official support was not there. Documentation was not proper. The political and administrative issues were there. Okay. So he posthumously, after his death, he was recognized by this IVF, right? So mainly in India, initially the credit was given to Harsha Chhabra, okay? First officially recognized test tube baby in India. Done? So this is a bit about the history, obviously not much required for you, but still you should know about that. So Harsha Chabada, that is in Mumbai, team led by Dr. Indira Hinduja. One more doctor, Dr. Arun was also there, but I'm not able to recall his name, but yeah, I'm sure about Dr. Indira Hinduja. So let's talk about this IVF. So if I have to discuss it, I'll divide it into two parts. This assisted reproductive technology, I will divide it into two parts. See, in one case, you are talking about the in vitro fertilization, where the fertilization is occurring, right? Where the fertilization is taking place, where? Outside the body, right? There is another case where the fertilization is in vivo. Like if I talk about this, just say in vitro fertilization. First of all, I'm feeling very good that I didn't select any lengthy chapter today because my screen is not at all supporting. I don't know what is the issue going on these days. Sometimes electricity issue is there, sometimes screen is not working. Next time maybe laptop issue will be there. I don't know, right? So in vitro fertilization may we have, yes, please. So we have ZIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. Yeah, that's what you have to remember. Zygote intrafallopian transfer. Then intrauterine, IUT. ZIFT is zygote intrafallopian transfer. Like zygote intra means within will be transferred to the fallopian tube up to 8 cell blastomere stage. Then it is intrauterine fallopian transfer. Intrauterine fallopian transfer. Then there is the ICSI, that is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So imagine the sperm nucleus will be injected within the ovum. So here it is having the maximum success rate. Maximum success rate for what? For fertilization. Okay, so these are the examples of in vitro fertilization. So both are basically the part of your assisted reproductive technology. But when I talk about the in vivo fertilization, see, when we say in vitro fertilization, we are basically discussing about what? We are basically discussing the fertilization is outside the body in the lab. So ZIFT, IUT, right? And then ICSI is there. In vivo mein, the fertilization is within the body. So ZIFT will go there, gift will come here. Just a gamete intrafallopian transfer. What's that? It is gamete intrafallopian transfer. So here what is happening, students? Let's suppose if a female, she is not like the gamete formation is not there in her case, then the gamete from a donor can be taken and then they can be passed in the fallopian tube. Now, other than that, let's suppose if the male is having some issue, male is having ED, erectile dysfunctioning. So in that case also, you know, through artificial insemination, gametes can be passed within the female genital tract. So this is how it is. So there is one AI. AI is artificial insemination here, right? Artificial insemination here. So the gametes will be transferred artificially within the female genital tract here. So fertilization is still in the body. One is IUI. So IUI is intrauterine insemination. What's that? It is intrauterine insemination. So this is what you have to remember. Right, this is what you have to remember. Is that clear? Is that clear? So here you people can see so here you can see, so you can see in vitro fertilization, IVF, fertilization is outside the body in almost similar condition as that in the body, followed by embryo transfer, right? So yeah, I was reading about it. So there is still not the, like scientists, they were trying to build an artificial womb. Like, okay, fertilization can be developed outside the body, but still for the scientists, it's not possible to, you know, develop a complete baby outside the body. So they are working on it. I didn't check that again, but they were working on developing the artificial womb. Okay. Chale. So in vitro fertilization, the body is almost of similar condition as that in the body. So it is followed by embryo transfer. It is one of such method. So in this method, popularly known as test tube baby program, this method is actually known as test tube baby program. So ovum from the wife or from the donor, if the, like, if that female is not like if gametes are not healthy or gametes are not formed, right, in that case they can go for the donor as well, and the sperms from the husband or the donor male are collected. They are induced to form the zygote under the stimulated condition, obviously the sterile condition also. So zygote or early embryo with, this is what you have to remember. So up to 8 blastomeres, then it is zift. In zift up to 8 blastomeres, right, the zygote will be implanted in the fallopian tube. That is why the name is saying zygote intrafallopian transfer. What else you have to remember? 8 blastomere. And embryo with more than 8, it will go to the uterus. So intrauterine transfer. Right, so this is the in vitro fertilization. And then I told you about ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. When it comes to in vivo means the gamete fusion is within the female, right? Okay, so the female, those who can conceive but the gamete formation is not there, they can go for this method. Okay, so here you people can see, so transfer of an ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube. So this is gamete intrafallopian transfer, right, of another female who cannot produce one but can produce suitable environment for fertilization and development. Matlab a female who can just provide this, her uterus is fine, pregnancy can occur, everything is fine, but the gamete formation is not there. So the gamete, she can have the gamete from a donor female, that can be relative or anything like that. Is that clear? Then ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So it is another specialized procedure to form an embryo in the lab, right, in which a sperm is directly injected into the ovum. Again, in the lab it will be done. So that's why I'm considering it under the in vitro fertilization. Okay, so sometimes infertility can also occur if the male partner is unable to inseminate or the sperms are not healthy, the production is less, right? So artificial insemination can be done, right? The semen from the husband, either from the husband or from the healthy donor is collected, artificially introduced either into the vagina, or if it is introduced into the uterus, then it is IUI, intrauterine transfer, that is it. Intrauterine insemination, that is it. Okay, IUI, IUT, do not confuse it. Okay. So this is it. So many options are there, but obviously they are financially draining, and the female, she suffers a lot because she has to be on the hormonal injection. So yes, people are having this, craze to propagate their own genes. That's why they go for such expensive treatment. Otherwise, that option is also there, right? Next is, so after this, the last topic that we have to discuss is STI, sexually transmitted infections. Why don't we call them as the sexually transmitted disorders? Obviously, it hurt the sentiments and it is a taboo. If a person is having some issue in the reproductive organ, people don't talk about it, especially if there is some erectile dysfunctioning, because that is just like a question mark on the masculinity of a man. So there are so many things related to this. So it is called as STI, sexually transmitted infection, or venereal diseases. So when you talk about it, you'll talk about gonorrhea, right, which is caused by bacteria, Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Right, yes, we have to remember which one is the bacterial disease, which one is, the viral disease. So which one is protozoal. So in this bacteria, you'll see there are fimbriae with which it will attaches itself to the host cell and then will enter in the host cell. Then syphilis, again bacteria, Treponema pallidum. What's the name of bacteria here? It is Treponema pallidum. Okay. Then genital herpes, it is caused by the virus, herpes simplex virus it is. Right, it is herpes simplex virus. Okay, chlamydiasis, again chlamydia, then again it is the bacterial one, then comes the genital warts, the viral one, human papilloma virus, right? Then trichomoniasis, this is the protozoal one. It is caused by Trichomonas vaginalis, that can affect male as well as female. Female, we call it as Licoria. Okay, so this is the protozoal one. Hepatitis B, so this is caused by hepatitis B virus, and you know it very well. Hepatitis B virus, it is basically affecting the liver, right? And then HIV. HIV is a virus. It's a retrovirus. That's a Ames PYQ. It's a retrovirus, matlab single-stranded RNA virus. It is having two single-stranded RNA viruses. So HIV is a virus that causes what? That causes AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It's a disorder, right? Right, it is having group of symptoms. So HIV is a pathogen, I would say, that is causing the disease. AIDS is the disease. So that's a question that has been asked in AIMS, right? Right. So these are the some of the common disease we need to know, we need to study. Otherwise, other than that, cancers are also there. So here you can see, right, this is full-fledged NCRT. And let me tell you, if a person is HIV positive means how? See, in the human health and disease part, we have discussed that. We discussed the AIDS there. So when you talk about the HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, it's a retrovirus. Means it is having the single-stranded RNA, right? So it is having the single-stranded RNA. What does it contains? It is having the single-stranded RNA as a genetic material. So HIV is basically the virus that is causing the disease AIDS. But how? If somebody is HIV positive, that doesn't mean that if somebody is HIV positive, then that person is having AIDS. AIDS develops with time. For AIDS, the incubation period is 6 months to 10 years. HIV, presence of HIV in the body is going to weak the immune system, which will result in the group of symptoms that will result in the AIDS. That is what we have to remember. So for AIDS, the diagnostic test is ELISA, enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, but the confirmatory test is Western blotting. Is that clear? So this is what we need to know about this. Then hepatitis B and HIV, they can be transmitted by sharing of injection, right, needles. Basically, how these disease spread when there is the sexual contact of a person with multiple partners, right? Unprotected sexual intercourse is there. One person is affected, definitely that person is going to pass the disease to the healthy person as well. And when especially there is the contact of the body fluid, right? Not without that. Any form of body fluid, if it is getting exchanged, this disease can occur. Such type of questions they have been asked in 2020, 2021, and even before that. So hepatitis B and HIV, they can also be transmitted by sharing of injection, needles, surgical instruments, etc. with the infected person. The transfusion of blood. So if you have to donate the blood to somebody, they always check for your blood for the HIV infection as well, right? And these two can also pass from infected mother to the fetus as well. This is what we have to remember, okay? Then, except for hepatitis B, right? Except for hepatitis B, genital herpes, HIV infection, and other disease are completely curable. Except for hepatitis B, genital herpes caused by herpes simplex virus, and HIV, right? Genital herpes is a disease caused by herpes simplex virus. Genital herpes is a disease caused by herpes simplex virus and HIV, human immunodeficiency virus infection. So the other disease are, except for these, okay, other disease are completely curable if and treated properly, right? Curable and treated properly. This is what we have to remember. So one is chlamydia, caused by chlamydia trachomatis, right? Chlamydia trachomatis. How can it be detected? Basically, gram staining of the discharge, antigen detection can be done. Gonorrhea, told you already. Neisseria gonorrhea, again, this is also bacterial. Trichomoniasis, this is caused by, this is protozoonal, right? This is caused by protozoa. So this is a protozoonal disease. Trichomonas vaginalis, right? Genital herpes, viral disease, herpes simplex virus, syphilis, bacteria, treponema pallidum, and cancroid is also there. Haemophilus duxaria. Genital was human papilloma virus. Okay? Array, human papilloma virus. So Duceria, it is done. So here you can see gonorrhea, matlab it is also affecting the eyes as well, right? Abdominal pain during intercourse, vaginal discharge. So if there is any STI, the vaginal discharge, the pain during the sexual intercourse, the fluid release will be there. Sometimes pelvic inflammatory diseases are also there, which can even result in stillbirth, right? So here you can see the kidneys are also infected, urinary tract infection, burning sensation with urination, inflammation of the venial, swollen testicles are there, and discharge from penis, right? So eyes are also affected. You can just have a look, right? So here you can see, right? So urethra or the tube that drains urine, it is affected. Eyes are also affected in this gonorrhea. Throat, vagina, anus, female reproductive tract, fallopian tube, cervix, uterus, and gonorrhea can affect people of any age, anatomy, or gender, but it is common among teens and young adults. In the age of 15 and 24, and same for the chlamydia. If you will read about the chlamydia, chlamydia is very, very, very common in youngsters, very common in youngsters, chlamydia, right? So which one is affecting eyes? Which one is affecting eyes? It is your gonorrhea. So other possible symptoms may, the urge to urinate, pus-like discharge or drip from your penis, discoloration and swelling at the penis opening, testicular swelling or pain, itching and soreness in anus, rectal bleeding or discharge will be there. Vaginal discharge, pain or burning while urinating in the case of female, urge to urinate more frequently, heavy periods or spotting will be there, pain during the vaginal sex, right? Lower abdomen pain, itching, rectal bleeding. These are the symptoms for the gonorrhea. Baki syphilis, it occurs in stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. You can see, right, initially some sores will be there, then body rashes, then internal organs can also get affected. Okay, the internal organs can also get affected like this. Okay, so it starts from that source, right? So primary, secondary, latent and tertiary syphilis, so it occurs in stages. So that much detail is not given in our syllabus, not required, but yeah, still just for your information. So early symptoms may itching, fluid discharge, slight pain, swelling, etc. in the genital can occur. Infected females may often be asymptomatic, means without any symptoms for a longer period of time. They can be. Okay, so complications may pelvic inflammatory, PID, pelvic inflammatory disease can be there, result in abortions, stillbirth, right? Ectopic pregnancies, when the implantation is not there, implantation is at any part other than uterus. What is ectopic pregnancy? When implantation is there at any part other than uterus, infertility or even the cancer of reproductive tract can be there. Okay, okay, so avoid sex with unknown partners or the multiple partners, and avoid it without using condoms or any other barrier method, right? So go to the doctors, visit the doctors so that they can guide. Okay, so then the chapter is over. So I told you I'm happy today I selected this chapter because my screen is not working fine. Okay, so let's read some points from summary as well. So here you can see, so reproductive health refers to a total well-being in all the aspects of reproduction, as I told you earlier, physical, emotional, behavioral, and social. So our nation was the first nation in the world to initiate the action plans, right, so that they can attain the reproductive healthy society. Just in 1951 में family planning program. So you can just read the summary for the quick revision. Then see, counseling and creating awareness among people about reproductive organ, adolescents, associated changes, safe and hygienic sexual practices, even sexually transmitted infection, including AIDS, etc. Right. Then providing medical facilities and care to the problems like menstrual irregularities, pregnancy-related aspects, delivery, right, and medical termination of pregnancy, STIs, birth control, infertility, postnatal child and maternal management is the aspect of reproductive child healthcare program. So the full form is RCH. So RCH full form is reproductive and child healthcare program. So yeah, I can give you the question from this part that out of the following, which one is included in RCH, right? So I can frame a question from this part. Getting my point? Then after that, you can see an overall improvement in the reproductive health has taken in place in our country as indicated by reduced maternal and infant mortality rates, early detection and cure of STIs, right? Assistance to infertile couples, etc. So improved health facilities and better living condition promoted an explosive growth of population. Such a growth necessitated intense propagation of contraceptive methods. So various contraceptive options are available: natural, traditional, barrier, IUDs, pills, injectables, implants, and surgical methods are there. Okay, so medical termination of pregnancy, it is legalized in our country, generally performed to get rid of unwanted pregnancy due to the rape, casual relationships, right? Or if the pregnancy continuation is fatal for the mother or for the baby. So infection or disease, so STI is given, so PID, stillbirth, infertility are some of the cures. So this is it. So that's it. That's all about this. Henna. So inability to conceive, this test tube baby program is done. So this is all about this chapter. So one more chapter down. and don't cry for human health and disease. I'll put, right, the video on that, as I told you earlier. So this is all about this chapter, right? For this, the NCERT is sufficient enough. And what? That's it. That's all. So I thought that I am not going to disturb you guys on Sunday. That is why I decided to keep a very, very short session. So and next Sunday I'll go for microbes in human welfare. And for that also I'll provide you my handwritten notes, and that will take your 3 hours maximum, 3 or 3.5 hours, right? Microbes in human welfare. So these type of short chapters we'll pick up on Sundays. Better na? Good na? Right? Okay, so take care, guys. All the best. Keep studying. If you like the session, do let me know in the comment section. And the next session will be on Wednesday. We'll go for the